Hi guys. So today I'm going to talk about an update to a product that I really enjoy and I've talked about several times on the channel before. So I wear Bluetooth headphones a lot. I talk on the phone a lot during the day. I like to pace. I like to do tasks while I'm on the phone, and I'm realistically on the phone probably 5.5 hours a day most days. So over the years, I've tested a lot of Bluetooth headsets, and there was a period of time where I bought like all of the popular brands, and I got like the $200-ish tier of headphones. So, you know, Sennheiser and Shure and Jabra and Bose and JBirds and a bunch of different ones. I had like 10 different headphones on one video at one point, but I determined that the ones that I liked best for sound quality were actually Sennheiser Momentum TWs. And then I found these like Skullcandy Sesh Evo, and it was kind of a thing I happened on. They were on sale at Costco. I happened to be there and I just picked the set up, and they were like 60 bucks and they were awesome. They just did a great job for like actually talking on the phone. They do a really good job of blocking noise around you from transmitting to the people that you're on the phone with. So for me, when I'm on the phone, if I'm also sitting at my computer and like responding to an email or a Slack message or something else, I found that I would get like distracted in my conversation and like not hear what they're saying. So oftentimes when I'm on phone calls, I'll do other things. I'll be, you know, whatever. I might be making myself lunch. I might be folding laundry. I might be doing a variety of different things. And this is kind of good about blocking out the sound from these menial tasks. So I picked these up. Not expecting to like them, and they ended up being awesome. The product is called the Sesh Evo. They do make a Sesh, and they make a Sesh Evo. The Sesh Evo specifically is active noise canceling, and I was really impressed with them, and I ended up buying like 6 pairs of them over the course of 2 years. And like I said, I use these all day, every day. Most days they're in my ears for probably 8 hours a day, at least one of them. And when I'm not on the phone, I'm often listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video or something like that. But I just found that they worked really well, especially for the price. And the Sennheisers were my favorite, but these were kind of my favorite from a value perspective. Like many other good things, they were discontinued, and you can still buy them on Amazon because there's some new old stock that's out there. But you know, they're only going to be around for a short amount of time, and then they're kind of gone. So I have a new in the box set that's sitting in my file cabinet right now, just in case I happen to need one in the future, because the ones I have won't last forever. I realized the other day, I was at Walmart actually, and they have a new version of the Sesh Evo called the Sesh Evo Active, and that's what this is. So this is the case. It's now orange, where the old one was black. It's got a little like loopy thingy on here. They're both USB-C. That's what the earbud looks like. It's right here. So it is like that kidney bean style that goes in your ear, and these I find kind of stay in your ear pretty well, this style of earbud. And I thought, well, I'll pick those up and try them out and see how they are. They're about 80 bucks. And I just, you know, thought I'd give them a shot. And I gotta say, the old version was way better than the new version. So if you want the too long didn't read, buy the old ones. But if you want to understand the why, I'll get into that here. So the new ones, first off, I keep having issues getting them to charge. So they sit in this cradle on 2 pins, and that's fairly normal. If you look at the old ones, oops. If you look at the old ones, they're kind of the same. But this case has like a very deep dish, and this can only really sit in one position, and it's always on those pins. It's kind of hard to get them so that they're not oriented directly on those pins where they need to be to charge. These ones, on the other hand, for whatever reason, I keep picking them up and finding that like one is dead because it hasn't been charging, even though the battery in the case is fully charged. And I think that it has to do with the fact that the dish isn't quite as deep, so it's not really sitting in the right position to charge appropriately. So that's one thing, and that can be a bummer. Like if you, you know, oftentimes I'll just use one ear and I'll be like on the phone or something, and I'll get like battery low, so I'll go stick the other one in my ear and put this one back, and then like I'll stick it in my ear and it's like already dead. So that can be annoying. Number two, the amount of button customization isn't the same. So on these, the old style, it's a single press for play, a single press for pause, a single press to answer the phone, a single press to hang up the phone, or hang up whatever you're in. So if it's a Zoom call, a Teams call, whatever, hang that up. And then it's you can program like double tap and triple tap, and then like press and hold and what those things do. So on these, you can do some of that too, but I found that hanging up the phone is kind of awkward. So you single tap to press it, but then you have to like press and hold to hang up on it, which isn't really intuitive. Because press and hold is normally something that you would program to do, you know, some other function like Siri or active noise canceling or something along those lines. They have this new Spotify One Tap, and I don't really see the point in it, but I've just found that the button presses are a little awkward. Also, they went from having a physical button, so on the outside of the old ones, in the rubber casing here, when you tap it, it's a physical button press, where it's actually, like there's a momentary switch there that you're physically pressing. On these, it's no longer a button press, instead it's a touch sensor. So what I find is, if you grab one of these out of the case and you go to stick it in your ear, it's not hard to tap it accidentally when you're putting it in your ear and hang up your call. Or pause your music or whatever it is that you're trying to do, like accidentally. And like if it's maybe a little loose in your ear, or it's falling out of your ear or something along those lines, or you just need to make an adjustment, it's easy to bump it and hang up your call when you're on the phone with somebody. And that can be a pain in the butt, especially like when you're on a call with, you know, if you're calling into a company, like you're on the phone with the United States Postal Service or the DMV, and you've been on hold for 45 minutes and you're, you know, waiting for somebody to come back to pick up the phone or something like that, like you do a little adjustment and hang up your call. And I've had that happen before. That's why I give it as an example. It is kind of a weird example, but the reality is that that does happen. The thing that they added as a positive is that there is some protection against water. So I would say, like, if these are something that, you know, you want to use in a hot tub, in a shower, in you know, running in the rain, something like that, these might be a little bit better of a bet. But what I have found is if you use them in the water, people tend to not be able to hear you for a while after that. Like, your voice sounds muddy, and I think what happens is the little hole that is the microphone gets a little bit of water in it, and then it stops kind of picking up your voice very well. And that's not unique to these. That's also, like, I have a pair of anchors that are a wireless that do IP7 or whatever rating, and they can do water as well. And I found that same problem on that. It's just one of those things. Like, if you're doing the water stuff, then these, you know, they all tend to not really work very well from a microphone perspective when you're done. So yeah, I mean, that being said, you know, for 80 bucks, they're not a bad value. They're honestly not a bad earbud. I just think that the old version, it's one of those situations where, like, the old version was better, and the new version I don't really like as much. And, you know, there have been other headphone brands that I could say something similar about. Like, I really liked the Beats X, which were the ones that kind of hung around your neck and went into your ears, and then they replaced those with the Beats Flex, the newer version, and those lost the wingtips that keep them in the top of your ear. And I really don't like the Beats Flex, but the Beats X were great, and I had 2 or 3 pairs of the Beats X over the years. So anyway, that's all I have. I realize this isn't a normal topic for my channel, but my channel is about me, not about detailing. So you might want to go back and see, there's a whole playlist that's on electronics. There's been a bunch of things over the years on you know, Mac computers and headphones and speakers and stereo stuff and all of that. But, you know, these are just the things that I use on a regular basis. So you might see me walking around the garage. You might see me on video where I've got an earbud in. Generally, what they are, they're these, the Skullcandy Sesh Evo. And I have 3 pairs of these right now that are, like, open and active, that all work, just because it makes it easier for, like, me to manage the battery or whatever. I've got a set sitting on the charger. I've got a set in my backpack, and usually I have a set in my pocket. And what I do to keep them, to keep track of them all, these ones don't have any dots on them, but I have a set that has, like, a white dot on the case and then a white dot on each of the units. And then I have a set that has a red dot on the case and a red dot on each of the units. So here are the red ones here, actually. And all I did was I used a hole punch with some vinyl, like the vinyl that you use for stickers. I just used a hole punch and made 3 holes of red and just stuck them on the case, stuck them on the things, and that way I can just tell the set apart. The case and the units don't really matter. Like I could put the non-dot in the red case or whatever, like that the charging doesn't really matter. They don't connect to the case, but they connect to each other. So having the left and right of the red versus having the left and right of the gray means that you don't have to go through a repairing procedure every single time you pick them up. That's all I have for today. If you're looking for a good, cheap set of headphones, these are on Amazon and they're like 50, 60 bucks on a pretty regular basis. I'll put a link down below in the description. If you click that link, it'll give me some sort of small kickback. I think it's 5% on electronics at Amazon, but it is one of those ways that you help to support my channel. So thank you for watching today and have a great day.